The night was dark and the heavy rain poured outside, hitting the glass windows like sharp needles. The wind howled, making the trees outside sway violently. Inside the mansion, you sat on the bed, your body trembling, your heart racing. Your eyes widened in horror as you screamed, Shankar, no, please wake up. Tears ran down your face as you saw him lying in a pool of blood. The doctors were checking his pulse, their faces filled with sorrow. Tell me he's okay, you begged. Gripping the doctor's coat desperately, the doctor sighed, looking down. I'm sorry, because of the depth of the bullets, we could not save him. No, no, you screamed his name, crying uncontrollably. Your eyes snapped open, your breath heavy, your hands clutched the bed sheets tightly, your whole body covered in sweat. It took you a few moments to realize it was just a nightmare. A horrible, terrifying nightmare. You turned to look at the clock. It was 11 p.m. Your heart still pounded in your chest. You reached for your phone and dialed Jungkook's number. The phone rang, but there was no answer. You tried again. A sudden wave of panic hit you. He told you he was going on a secret mission tonight, but he promised he would be home by 11 p.m. It was now 11:30 and there was no sign of him. You tried to shake off the fear, but the nightmare kept replaying in your mind. You quickly dialed his guards, no response. You called his right hand man, no answer. You tried his secret agents, nothing had happened. Your hands trembled as you gripped the phone tightly. No, no, this can't be happening, you whispered to yourself. Your breathing became heavy as tears welled up in your eyes. Please, Jungkook, just answer the phone. You paced back and forth in the room, your mind filled with terrible thoughts. What if something happened to him? What if your nightmare was turning into reality? You couldn't stay here, you had to find him. Grabbing your coat, you rushed out of the bedroom. The mansion was quiet, the servants are already asleep. You hurried downstairs, ignoring the cold air that sends shivers down your spine. As you reached the front door, the butler, Mr. Choi, appeared. Madam, where are you going at this hour? He asked, concern clear in his voice. I have to find Jungkook, you said, your voice shaking. Madam, it's dangerous outside. The rain is too heavy and you don't have security with you. Please wait till morning. You shook your head. I can't. I have a bad feeling and I need to see him. The cold night air was harsh as you tried to step out of the house, your heart racing with fear and determination. The maids and guards blocked your way, pleading with you to stay inside where it was safe. Madam, please don't go out alone, one of the maids begged, her eyes filled with concern. Move, I need to find Jungkook, you shouted, your voice shaking with desperation. One of the guards, who was assigned for your protection, stepped forward. Madam, let us handle this. We'll go and search for him. You should stay inside. Tears streamed down your face, but the maid held on to you, gently yet firmly. Please, madam, trust us. Jungkook sir would never forgive himself if something happened to you. With great difficulty, they managed to bring you back inside and made you sit on the couch. A maid handed you a glass of water, her hands trembling slightly. Drink this, madam. You need to stay strong. Jungkook sir will return soon. Your fingers clutched the glass, but your thoughts were elsewhere. The room felt suffocating, and your hand shook as you took a small sip. Meanwhile, in a hidden location, a tense discussion was taking place. Jungkook sat at the head of the table, gripping a glass of whiskey tightly. The room was dimly lit, and the air was thick with the scent of smoke. His phone lay at the other edge of the table, along with the phones of his men, all set to silent mode. His dark eyes burned with worry as he took another deep drag of his before exhaling sharply. How did this happen, Jimin? Jungkook's voice was dangerously low, but everyone could feel the race behind it. Who told our plan to him? Jimin swallowed hard, his jaw clenched. Someone from our team, he was sold to our enemy Daniel. He leaked the information that we were coming here. The moment Jimin finished his sentence, Jungkook slammed his whiskey glass onto the table, sending shards flying across the floor. How dare he do this? Jungkook roared, his voice echoing through the room. Everyone flinched at his sudden outburst, their faces pale with tension. His best friend and partner in the mafia world, Jimin, quickly stepped in trying to calm him down. Jungkook, control yourself. We'll catch him. Just give us time. Jungkook's hand curled into fist, his knuckles turning white. How can I be calm, Jimin? I have been waiting for this for 6 months. We were so close, and now because of a traitor, everything is at risk. His voice was sharp with frustration and anger. Jimin lowered his face. I'm sorry, Jungkook. Our men have already gone after him. We'll catch him soon and we'll finish him. Jungkook ran his fingers through his hair, inhaling sharply before taking another puff from his cigarette. He exhaled slowly, his mind racing with thoughts of revenge. Tell them, he finally said, his voice cold and emotionless. Either they come with Daniel, or they bring their bodies, and that traitor, I want him alive. I will deal with him myself. The men nodded silently, knowing better than to argue when Jungkook was in this state. He was burning with rage, and nothing would satisfy him except revenge. Jimin then hesitated for a moment before speaking again. Jungkook, now leave. Wyan must be waiting for you at home. At the mention of your name, Jungkook paused. His chest rose and fell heavily, but some of the tension in his body eased. You are the one person he loved unconditionally, the only one who could bring him back from his darkness. He sighed deeply, rubbing his temple. Jungkook grabbed his phone and glanced at the screen. His heart clenched when he saw the numerous missed calls from you. He had been so consumed by rage and revenge that he hadn't even noticed. Okay, I'm going now. You take care of it. He patted Jimin's shoulder and left from there immediately. Without another word, he stood up, picked up his coat, and stormed out. Jungkook drove through the dark streets, his hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. The rain poured heavily, making the road slippery, but he didn't care. His mind was clouded with anger, his body tense with frustration. Just then his phone rang. It was an unknown number. Frowning, he picked it up. Who is this? He asked in a sharp tone. A mocking laugh echoed through the speaker, and Jungkook immediately recognized the voice. Daniel. Jungkook looks like the great marketing is failing, huh? Daniel sneered. All that planned for 6 months, and yet your little operation was ruined. Jungkook's grip on the phone tightened. He crawled, his patience wearing thin. Oh, come on, don't be so mad. I should be thanking the rat in your team. He was very helpful. Daniel continued, his tone dripping with amusement. But I must say, your anger is entertaining. I can imagine your face right now, furious, helpless, pathetic. Before Daniel could finish, Jungkook roared in rage and threw the phone out of the car window. It smashed against the wet pavement, shattering into pieces. He pressed his foot on the accelerator, speeding toward home, his thoughts dark and chaotic. By the time he reached the house, he was drenched in rain, his clothes clung to his body, his hair dripping with water, the storm outside matched the storm raging within him. The moment the doorbell rang, you rushed to open it. The second you saw him, relief washed over you. Jungkook, you exclaimed about to embrace him, but before you could, he stormed inside without a glance at you. His shoulders were stiff, his jaw clenched, he was radiating anger, and it was clear that he had completely forgotten for whom he had come home. Jungkook, he called softly, following behind him. I didn't respond. He moved toward the stairs, his mind elsewhere, his fists still clenched. Jungkook, you tried again, your voice more desperate, but he ignored you. Finally, you screamed, Jungkook! He stood abruptly at the base of the stairs and turned around sharply, his dark eyes piercing through. "What do you want, man?" He snapped, his tone cold. You stared at him in disbelief. His face was tense with frustration, his body reeking of alcohol and cigarette smoke. His wet clothes dripped onto the floor, but he didn't care. You could see the storm in his eyes, but what hurt you the most was that he didn't even notice yours. Your voice trembled with emotions as you asked, "What do I want? Do you even know what position I was in until you came home? Do you even care? What happened to you, Jungkook? Why are you behaving like this?" Jungkook sighed heavily, rubbing his temples. He was exhausted mentally and physically. "Wine, stop. I'm not in the mood for this." You stepped closer, your frustration building. "Not in the mood? At least gently say, Jungkook, do you have any idea what I went through tonight? I was terrified. I called you so many times and you didn't even bother to pick up. Do you know how scared I was?" Jungkook scoffed, rolling his eyes. "Worried? Why are you worried? I'm not a child who needs protection. I'm a mafia king wine. Nothing can happen to me. Stop overreacting." His words cut through you like a blade. You stared at him, your eyes filling with tears. "Overreacting? Is that what you think? That my fear, my worry is an overreaction?" Jungkook let out an irritated sigh. "Fine, enough. I'm already frustrated. Don't irritate me more." And with that, he turned and walked up the stairs, leaving you standing there completely shattered. He was fully consumed by an alcohol and said something he should not out of booze. Tears streamed down your face as you watched his retreating figure. Your heart ached in a way it never had before. You had spent hours worrying about him, crying over the thought of losing him, and all he did was dismiss your feelings like they were nothing. The maids and guards who had been silently watching the scene quickly retreated to their rooms, leaving you alone in the dimly lit living room. Your legs gave out and you collapsed onto the couch, your body trembling with heartbreak. You wrapped your arms around yourself, trying to hold back your sobs, but they escaped anyway. The pain was unbearable. Why? Why does he not understand? You whispered to yourself, your voice barely audible. You wiped your tears with the back of your hand, but they kept coming. "I love him so much. I worry for him. I cry for him, and he thinks it nothing. Is my love a burden to him? Am I just an inconvenience?" You clenched your fist, your nails digging into your palms. "All I wanted was for him to be safe. Is that so wrong? Why does he always push me away when he's angry? Why does he think he has to carry everything alone?" Your mind replayed his harsh words over and over again, each one cutting deeper than the last. "Overreacting. If only he knew how much I love him. If only he knew how many nights I stay up waiting for him. He comes back in one piece. If only he could see how his words are breaking me." The house was eerily silent except for the sound of rain hitting the windows and your soft sobs. You stared at the staircase, hoping, praying that he would come back down. Then he would realize how much he had hurt you, but the seconds turned into minutes and there was no sign of him. With a heavy heart, you leaned back on the couch, staring at the ceiling, tears still flowing. "Maybe I really am overreacting. Maybe I should stop caring so much. But how do I stop loving him when he is my whole world?" The storm outside continued, but the one inside you was far worse. You closed your eyes, exhaustion taking over, but the pain in your heart kept you awake. The night felt colder than ever, and for the first time in a long time, you felt truly alone. The early morning sun had just begun to rise, casting a soft golden hue over the city. Jungkook stared in his sleep, his body still heavy with exhaustion. He reached out to the other side of the bed, expecting to feel your warmth, but the space was empty. His eyes shot open and his heart pounded as he sat up quickly. "Ryan," he called, his voice groggy with sleep. Silence greeted him. He threw the blanket aside and got up, checking the bathroom. Nothing. His panic grew as he searched the entire bedroom, then the adjoining rooms. You were nowhere to be found. "Why?" Jungkook shouted as he stormed out of the bedroom. his eyes frantically scanning the house. He checked the living room, the kitchen, and even the backyard, but you were gone. His breath quickened as fear gripped him. He turned to the girl standing at the front entrance. Where is Wang? Did you see her anywhere? One of the guards hesitated before answering. Sir, she left the house around 2 a.m. Jungkook felt like the ground had been ripped from under his feet. What? His voice was laced with disbelief and regret, and none of it stopped her. She was determined, sir. She didn't listen to anyone, the guard admitted with a bow of his head. Jungkook clenched his jaw, the events of last night flashing in his mind, his words, his anger. The way he dismissed your feelings, guilt slammed into his chest like a wrecking ball. He immediately pulled out his phone and called Jimin. The moment Jimin picked up, Jungkook's voice was shaky. Jimin, Wine is gone. I need you to find her now. Jimin sat on the other end. Jungkook, you made a mistake. You should have controlled your anger. You know how much Wine loves you? Jungkook closed his eyes, his voice breaking. I know, I regret it now. No matter where she is, I will ask for her forgiveness. I don't care if I have to fall at her feet. I just want my Wine back. Jimin sighed again. We'll find her. I'll send out the team. Jungkook hung up, ran to his car and drove off. His heart raced as he checked every street, every alley, searching for you. His worst fears consumed his mind. What if something happened to you? You were the wife of a mafia leader, a prime target for his enemies. The thought made his hands tremble on the steering wheel. After what felt like an eternity, his eyes landed on a familiar figure sitting on a bench at a bus stop. His heart stopped for a second before beating wildly. It was you. Jungkook slammed the brakes, jumped out of the car, and ran toward you. Wan, he called, his voice filled with relief and desperation. You looked up, your eyes swollen from crying. Before you could react, Jungkook reached out, wanting to pull you into his arms, but you held up your hand. Don't come near me, Jungkook. He stopped in his tracks, his heart sinking. Why did you leave like that? Do you know how much I'm worried about you? You let out a bitter laugh, wiping away a stray tear. Oh, so now my absence worries you, but when I was worried about you last night, I was overreacting, right? Your voice was filled with pain. Jungkook froze, your words hit him like a dagger to the heart. He had dismissed your fears last night and now he was drowning in his own. He swallowed hard. I was wrong, Juan. I should have never spoken to you like that. I was angry and frustrated, but that was no excuse. I hurt you when you all ever do is love me. I regret it. I regret everything. You turned your face away, refusing to meet his eyes. Jungkook, you don't understand how much your words broke me. I was up all night, crying, feeling like my love was a burden to you. Jungkook felt a lump in his throat. He slowly sank to his knees in front of you. When, please, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I can't bear to lose you. You looked down, startled, and his tears fell onto your feet. He held your ankles gently, his grip firm and desperate. If I have to beg, I will. If I have to spend the rest of my life making up for last night, I will. Just don't leave me, please. Jacob reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. He opened it, revealing a delicate diamond anklet. He carefully fastened it around your ankle before placing a soft kiss on it. He looked up at you, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. Will you forgive this idiot Van? Will you come back to me and bring life back into my world? Tears welled in your eyes. Your heart, though hurt, couldn't ignore the love in his voice, the sincerity in his eyes. You sniffled, nodding slightly. Jungkook exhaled in relief and immediately pulled you into his arms. I love you, Wang. I love you more than anything. I promise I will never hurt you like this again. You held on to him tightly, letting out all the emotions you had bottled up. I love you too, Jungkook, but never push me away again, never. He promised, placing a gentle kiss on your forehead. He scooped you up in his arms and carried you to the car. As he drove home, he held your hand the entire way silently, vowing to treasure you for the rest of his life. The storm had passed and love had won once again. Don't let anger consume us. It will make you regret about your actions further. Thank you for watching.